3, 2, 1, record. For joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast. Of course, it's Glenn.
Way to go, Glenn. Let's try this again.
Stinking audacity.
Look, the VP is smarter than the SE.
Hey.
Hey.
That very rarely is said.
I know, all right. But now we can say it.
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 44 of 2024. I'm Chris Louie, and just finished putting up a shed in my backyard. With me, I have my co-host, the Cloud God, who has a backyard full of she sheds.
I just read the she said, so yeah, I don't know how to answer that. But anyways, I did want to give a shout out to Jared H. I left a comment on his LinkedIn when he got promoted, and then he fired right back with a dad joke reference. So apparently he listened. So Jared, thank you so much for listening. And then 2, congratulations on the promotion, man. Couldn't have happened to a better dude.
Congratulations, Mystery Jared H.
Yeah.
As long as that's the Jared from Subway, we're good.
Jared Fogle.
Yeah, no, he's not an H.
Different one. Definitely
different one. Yeah, thank God.
And we have Glenn Medina, or should we call him Always Traveling Glenn, or ATG? Where are you off to this week, buddy?
Same place that I was last week, up in Seattle. So, but hey, can you just state this as a fact that you put your son Dom to work in building that shed, and it really wasn't you? So you child labor laws here.
Child labor.
Yeah.
Hey, get stuff done, man.
Yeah. He got to earn his keep. He doesn't pay rent, so he pays in other ways.
You know that's
now
why they had
officially,
kids.
So now officially, since he has this tough shed in his backyard, he can charge $1,000 to $2,000 a month as an ADU to some couple, right? Looking to can't afford to buy a house, but can afford to rent a shed in the backyard.
Rent a shed in the backyard. Yeah. No utilities, unfortunately. It gets pretty hot in there.
What are you going to put in the shed is a real question.
Like our bicycles and the kids' power wheels, things like that.
Okay.
Can you do that? It's gonna get stolen. So
It's in the backyard. It's lockable. I got cameras.
they stole your camera last time. You remember we talked about
All right,
this
fair
already.
enough. Fair enough.
All I know is I'm going to go rob you blind.
Our guest this week is Elise Healy. Elise is currently VP of Sales at Island, which means we have an equal number of Island and Zscaler employees on the call. I think first time, huh? This is the first time we've had that.
First time.
Yeah, first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Elise.
stinking guy can't get another person from Island to show up to a podcast.
I know, Glenn.
Unbelievable.
But we're here now.
Here we are.
Yeah, we did it. It only took 185 episodes.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen eventually, right?
Well, it's less than that. Let's be fair. I wasn't always at Island when we started this podcast.
That's
So
true.
it's less than that.
I think you're right, yeah.
And sometimes you just meet people in an airport waiting in line. And here we all are.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all are.
Elise, like me, was a poli-sci major, so welcome to the show. What did political science teach you about B2B sales?
Well, I could probably make a lot of jokes about it right now, given we're 1 week out from an election. But I think I would say, like, seriously, I think the most important thing I learned was how to pivot really quickly, how to know your audience. And I think the most important thing to me is the power of persistence, because so many times our customers don't really hear what we're saying. And I by the way, I think that goes for all of us. We don't necessarily hear what's being told to us, but we have to really hone our message. And a lot like what we see with politicians, in order to get our desired results, we have to be able to really demonstrate value. And I think that's ultimately what gets the sale. So I think more than anything, persistence pays off.
So I think I would vote for you because I don't think any of the candidates know how to pivot, know their audience, or have any persistence whatsoever at this point in time.
I think they know their audience, but they don't, right?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Judging by
Well,
some-
they-
They
yeah,
come from a middle class family, just like everyone else.
Of course, Glenn always goes there.
Hey, I'm not saying for or against. I'm just saying we all come from a middle class family, and we all worked at McDonald's at one point in time. So,
Did you work at McDonald's? Raise your hand if you worked at McDonald's.
well,
2 out of the 4.
Yeah, 50%.
50%. That's not bad.
That's
I only
pretty
made it
typical,
2
right? I
weeks,
think
though.
It's like 50 or 60%. Yeah, you only did 2 weeks.
Bro, they had me back there cooking the hamburgers, and like right next to the grill was like this freezer full of patties. And they're like, take out the patties, put on the grill, and sometimes they're like stuck together. So I would like hit it against the metal. And one time, like you would lay like 30 of them down, and one of the patties fell on the ground. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna gross you guys out. I didn't put it back on the grill. I was just like, I'll throw it away after I cover it, right? So I put it down, pull the grill, and then I go pick it up. It was solid 30 seconds ago. And this point in time, is just mush. I was like, man, this is not human food at all. So I was, yeah. That was I think probably the last time I ever wanted to eat at McDonald's. And then I quit shortly
Not
thereafter.
suitable for human consumption.
I was there for a year.
That's good.
I've worked a lot of odd jobs, but
Yeah.
McDonald's is not on the list.
What was your most odd job?
Yeah, what is?
I was a manager at Target. So if you're looking for the person that knows all of the Target secrets about what day of the week things go on sale, I'm your girl.
Oh, go on.
Nice.
All right. What day of the
Read a
week is
blog
it?
about that.
Yeah.
So usually Tuesday is the best day for sales because that's the day that usually they mark down the clothing.
I can safely say I've never bought any clothing from Target, though. What about tech?
That stuff never really goes on sale, and that's the bad news.
Damn it. I can't win,
Yeah.
guys.
Pretty
Unless
low
you're
margin.
looking for like an iPhone 13 case from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That
And
might
It's on the
go on
end
sale.
cap.
the
It's on
clearance
the end
rack.
cap, right?
Yeah, that's on the
exactly.
clearance end cap.
What about an iPhone 7 case? Because that's still what Glenn is rocking. So,
Hey, I like my button. Stop that.
no comments.
Showing my age now.
Well, combined, we have decades of information security experience here, not just to educate, but to entertain. We've got 4 awesome stories for this week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This week, we're going to talk about a quick update from last week's story, a ghost phone, for our third topic, when Lambo, and close with fraud talk. For our first topic, an update from last week's story about Tigran Gambaryan being wrongfully detained in a Nigerian prison. I'm happy to say, I think it was actually the day after we did the story, Nigeria has dropped all charges and Gambaryan is home safe now. I think the Nigerian government knew that we were about to expose them and run a story on our podcast, so they set him free.
Highly
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. But didn't the U.S. still make out with like 69,000 Bitcoin in that whole grand scheme?
It's
Yes.
theirs.
Yep. So, in a related story, the U.S. government is about to get its largest windfall from a law enforcement operation in U.S. history. Back in 2020, a person identified only as Individual X transferred approximately 69,000 Bitcoin into a wallet controlled by the U.S. federal government. The proceeds are believed to be seized from the Silk Road, that dark web marketplace, and it's taken 4 years for the U.S. government to establish legal ownership of the Bitcoin, and trading at today's prices will be worth somewhere about $4.4 billion once they're all sold off. Our friend of the show, Tigran Gambaryan, who we spoke about last week, was the IRS criminal investigator that traced the seized funds. As you can imagine, lots of people were claiming ownership of the stolen Bitcoin, and the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear any more appeals, so it's officially property of the U.S. federal government now.
Wait,
I'm pretty sure it was mine.
You used to hear. Yeah. What the heck?
They
Conveniently.
just decided.
Yeah.
It's theirs.
Well, there was two sides of that, right? If they claimed it, then they would be the ones that would be in trouble for the theft itself. Is that right?
It got kind of murky that even though, like, Silk Road, that's an illegal operation. It facilitated drug sales and murder for hire and stuff. But apparently there was some company that bought their assets, like, in receivership. And technically they claimed ownership of that money since it was, quote, stolen from them. So I don't know. It seems like ambulance chasing to me, and people just wanted their $4.4 billion.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So where in the government does this money go to? Does it go to, like, pay down the debt? Does it go
Straight to Ukraine, baby.
Help out abused children?
Shouldn't have said that.
Does it, yeah. What'd you say?
Said straight to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have said that. Yes. Thanks for.
I'm very curious. I would like to know. I definitely need to know this.
I mean, that's a lot of
I'm
scratch.
trying to figure this out. Yeah, so I think technically it belongs to the U.S. Treasury. It's supposed to go to fund the U.S. government. But I know that, like, when the DEA does, like, a drug bust and they seize all this cash and cars and stuff, like, they sell it off. I think the U.S. government gets part of it, but the DEA gets a cut of it, which is, we can get into this whole argument about civil forfeiture laws here in the U.S. and how it's all really messed up. But, I mean, I think the agency that did the bust gets a cut, but I think the majority of it just goes to the U.S. federal government slush fund.
You think there's like a Bitcoin bro that's like, we got to hold. Wait till it gets to 100K. You think there's a Chris Louis in there saying, we can't sell yet.
Yeah, I don't know who gets to decide that, or if there's laws about liquidating illiquid assets that they have to sell it for cash.
Well,
so remind me again,
Tigran.
how much you guys all own on Bitcoin?
Oh, that's related to story 3. So Brian's foreshadowing our next story.
Yeah, Brian, what's going on?
With zero intention, to be honest with you. Just got lucky.
Yeah.
Well, thank
But
goodness Tigran's out, right? So
Yeah.
made it out.
Yeah.
He's safe. Should
Yeah,
never
I mean-
travel to Nigeria again.
I think it was probably the story we reported on where members of Congress are getting agitated that the U.S. government wasn't doing anything. He was a hostage. Like, they held him up on trumped up charges, and he was basically a hostage, but they never elevated it to that level. So I think the grumblings inside our U.S. Congress probably prompted the Nigerian government to set this guy free. They're not going to get their payday. This guy's been in jail 8 months wrongfully, and now they set him free.
You guys hear that he weighs 150 pounds now?
Yeah, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. The
What did he
conditions
start at?
in
Like 155?
No,
Nigerian prisons are
122.
not the
They actually
case.
fed him very well. Yeah. 4 squares a day. I'm just kidding. They didn't say anything about his weight, but that'd be wild. I like that Glenn kind of figured out where I was going with that. He's like, wait a second. I don't remember reading that. Imagine going to jail and just getting fatter. Like you're in some third world country, come back out, just 300 pounds, blobbling mess, built like a bag of mashed potatoes. And everyone's
It just
quiet.
goes to
Screw
show
you guys.
the ultimate hodl, right? Because I bet when this money was stolen, because Silk Road's been defunct for maybe a decade now. It's been a while, and then 69,000 Bitcoin was probably worth a couple grand at that time. But the fact that they were forced to hold it in Bitcoin has appreciated so much in value. Like, this was the ultimate hodl, like $4.4 billion from a marketplace that just bought and sold drugs and murder for hire and things like that.
So what would happen
I
if
think
someone...
it was
Go ahead, Glenn.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Brian.
My stuff is stupid. I don't understand why you're letting me talk. I was going to say, what would happen to Bitcoin if they liquidated all 69,000? Would it go up or go down or stay steady? What do you think, Chris?
There's arguments to be made about both, and like with all things in economics, it depends, because like if you dump 69,000 Bitcoin in the open market like that, by increasing the supply, naturally the price has to come down. But there's arguments to be made that says, well, if the U.S. government is selling it, they're legitimizing it, they believe in it, and now there's access to more Bitcoin out there, and more people are going to buy it. That should make the value go up. So I don't think I think it's going to be a wash.
They just got rid of their position, though, so why would they believe in it? Maybe it's a pump and dump scheme, guys.
Could be.
It's up to almost 70,000 today, so clearly they're holding.
Yeah.
Good God.
Whoever's in the treasury is like, hodl.
And what does HODL stand for again, Chris?
Hold on for dear life.
There it is. All right.
Brian's hodling his Dogecoin.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, never again will I do an investment with you guys with Ish coins. I should have just threw the $1,000 someplace else and knew that it wasn't going to come back. So
Buy Nvidia.
yeah, that's what I
Hey,
should have
you're
done.
not dead yet, man. Weird things can happen.
So at least it was.
I need the backstory on this.
Yeah, so I think this was back then when I was still with Zscaler. We all said, "Hey,
Yeah.
let's all buy Ish coins. Ish meaning crappy coins, and let's buy. I think it was $100 a clip. Let's buy 10 of them. Buy 10 of them over a 10-week period, And so we're kind of going back and forth. And let's just say we finished off the 10 weeks, and I'm still at $250. So,
you know what's funny though? Freaking Daddy Warbucks over here. Every time he's like, "Yep, this is the next coin," and we all agree we're buying $100 worth. He's like, "I bought $400 worth." So he's a bigger loser than us. So there's that.
Yeah, I am. I'm the bag holder of the group, but and when Glenn says we had this idea, Brian was the one that brought this to the group. Because there was these stories that says if you invested $100 in Shiba before it exploded, you'd have like $1 million or something. So Brian's like, well, what are the odds? Let's just pick 10 random coins and invest $100. Maybe we'll make out like a millionaire. And no, we bought right at the peak, and then there's a crypto winter, and we're all left holding the bag.
Bro, it's about to be crypto summer. You just watch out. We'll be rolling. We'll become thousandaires. It's gonna be awesome.
Doge is almost back. I think we got in at 17, and now it's back up to 15, so we're not down quite so much.
I dumped it out now with Ethereum. So
that was probably a good move.
Yeah, bro. Have you dabbled at all, Elise?
I have just a little bit, not too much.
Yeah, just some fun stuff. Don't disclose anything.
Diversify.
Yeah.
No, just a little dabble here and there.
It's like the stock
Gotta
market,
have some
right?
fun. Yeah.
Roll the bones, see what you get.
Nothing you
All
wouldn't
right.
be too concerned about.
Yeah, casino's open.
Just a little bit here and there. I don't go to the casino, so might as well play a little bit with crypto.
Yeah. It is gambling, and I'm glad you brought that up.
You still make it, Brian, like you said. Where as long as you're holding it, it's not a loss until you sell.
That's true. I wonder if I can write it off of my taxes.
Once you sell it, if you sell it at a loss, you can definitely write it off. Because if you sell it again, you have to pay tax on it. So the opposite's also true. All right, for our second topic, the Australian government has infiltrated the Ghost messaging app and made dozens of arrests as a result. The Ghost messaging app billed itself as an encrypted messaging app for criminals with tied to organized crime, terrorist, and murder for hire. Australian police claim they prevented up to 50 people from being killed, kidnapped, or seriously hurt by monitoring threats among about 125,000 messages and 120 video calls. Ghost was an app that ran on a secure device and sold for about $1,500 US, which included a 6-month subscription to the messaging app. The owner of the Ghost messaging app, a 32-year-old man from Australia, has been arrested.
What is going on in Australia that they're doing all this murder for hire? What the heck is going on over there?
And can I
blame it on
ask
the
an
dingoes.
obvious question here?
Yeah.
Sure.
Why one day do you just get up and decide you're going to create an app that's going to become like this secret murder for hire / like drug dealing app? Like, how do you just like decide one day, hey, that's what I'm going to do?
Well, when you sell it for $1,500 a phone or a message, or for subscription to the application, that sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, you want that subscription service. You want that ARR.
It's a supply and demand thing, right? You went to the App Store, there's no murder for hire. What do? You create an app. Right? That's just...
I can't say that's one of the things I've ever looked for on the App Store.
Oh, that's true. Me neither.
Oh, that might just be you.
Can you Google that?
Definitely not.
That murder for hire app?
Well,
You would hope that if you Google that,
yeah,
like there would be someone at your house in record time arresting you.
I mean, there are tons of these. There's EncroChat, there's the Phantom Phone, and I mean, there's definitely a need for it, but the story always ends up in the same place. The FBI or some intelligence agency always infiltrates it, starts reading the messages, and then make these giant stings, these giant arrests from it. It never ends well for the criminals. But I guess in the meantime, as long as you don't get caught, you're going to be making lots of money. And the other thing I thought was kind of odd was this guy was in Australia, which is part of the Five Eyes nations, and they arrest criminals. This isn't like Russia or Belarus or China where the government can turn a blind eye, or for enough money you can get away with. Like, this is Australia. Like, why would you operate this service in a country that prosecutes criminals?
Better yet, weaponize dingoes to do your bidding. Right? Maybe give them a little
The
mushroom.
dingo made me do it.
Yeah, a dingo ate my baby.
I just can't believe they stopped 50 people from getting killed. It's like, is that really a thing? Or like, What's the
Apparently
ratio
there
here?
are that many people out there who are interested in hiring a contract killer.
Yeah.
But,
or it could have been like two people. Like if I messaging Glenn and say, "Hey, Brian's about to snitch on us. Why don't we make him have an accident?" And then that's when the police like, "Okay, well Brian's about to have an accident. Let's warn him not to go to that back alley meeting."
Or if you're a criminal anyway, why don't you go ahead and go to that back alley meeting? Ugh.
Yeah,
I just can't believe there's a monetization for this. This is amazing.
I
So
wonder what the ethics are for that. It's like if this is a bad person and you know that bad person's about to get killed, like, do you let this one slide? Do you like, oh, I didn't see that message in time? But I mean, obviously, if it's an innocent person, you don't want the innocent person to get hurt. But do these law enforcement agencies have an obligation to save lives, even if they're scumbags?
Well, that dude he's officially the Australian Zuckerberg of organized crime. Well, buddy, enjoy your new gig running an inmate messaging system from a cell. Maybe you can call it Ghosted.
Ghosted app.
Yeah, the Ghosted app.
Private and encrypted.
That fell flat. Never
inmate
mind.
to
Edit
inmate
it out.
Communications.
there's like Canada, Sweden, Ireland, and Italy, along with Australia, is where they made these arrests. So it wasn't just specific to Australia.
I think that's where the guy was from.
Global phenomenon.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what's the odds that like murder for hire is actually like a really big thing? Like they're just scratching the surface. I forget what movie it was, or like they're showing drugs being imported to the country, and they're like I think it was like Blow with Johnny Depp, and they're just like, yeah, big old drug bust, but like underneath the boat was where they had all the cocaine like on the sides of it, and they were just under there were like scoop tanks and just taking everything. Like 1/10 of what was actually coming in was being seized, and they just missed everything else.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the reality of it. Yeah. Can't stop
It's
everything.
a really dark way to think about it, but it's probably right.
I hung out with some
we
cops
put
the other
in-
day, and I will tell you, it is terrifying. We did this like a poker night. It was like me and 9 dudes from Mesa, Gilbert, and Phoenix PD. And just like the stuff they talk about is horrifying. They're like, oh yeah, you wouldn't understand. Like so much of this crazy stuff happens every single day, and it just never makes the news. It's insane. It's a scary place to be out there. We're all lucky to be walking around alive at this point, I think. Well,
Just in Mesa, right?
just you guys, not me.
Just in Mesa.
I'm the
Just
one that
in
does
Mesa.
knocking. Yeah. No, I think it's everywhere, man.
You like, if you remember that movie Traffic from a couple decades ago, Michael Douglas, and he's like drug czar of the U.S. and he's talking to these Border Patrol agents, and the Border Patrol agents like, oh yeah, drug seizures and interdiction efforts this year have tripled. Like we've seized 3 times more drugs than last year. And then Michael Douglas, as the drug czar, says, well, that technically means 3 times the amount of drugs that you miss are getting through, aren't they? He's like, yeah, yes, sir. That's a scary way of looking at it, but also correct.
So, Elise, where do you live?
I live in Pittsburgh. Not exactly the hub of criminal enterprise, thankfully.
Wow. That is like not where I expected you to be living, to be honest with you. Pittsburgh.
Where did you think I was living?
I don't know. I mean, VP of sales probably in a skyrise in New York City with armored guards in a helicopter. Rooftop
Nope, just
pool.
living in the burbs in Western Pennsylvania.
Do you have goats?
I have no goats. I don't have a farm. I live in a very normal suburban community.
My mom lived in Pittsburgh and she had goats. That's why I asked that. That's my only frame of reference.
I mean, that's my dream someday. I want to have a ranch somewhere and rescue all the animals. But for now, it's just me, my husband, and the dog in Western Pennsylvania in a very normal suburb.
You should
Is
talk
there
to
an animal?
Because Adam lives in Pittsburgh.
Yes, he does.
All right, enough of the inside jokes, guys.
So, well, you guys know Adam, right? Chris knows
Yeah,
Adam.
I know Adam.
Yeah.
You are here for a
Adam
bit.
lives way out.
Yeah.
He's out
He
in
has all the
sticks.
animals.
Can we also comment on your background that you have a giant E on your wall right there? Is that for your first name?
That is for my first name.
You know.
It's a random hodgepodge of things because when I was the DM at EMC, I was the unfortunate person that had to shut the office down when COVID hit. And I had just had a very eclectic group of things that my reps had given me through the years, and I had to bring it all home at that point. So
I'm not gonna
That's when
lie.
it became
I'm into the salt and
decoration.
pepper shaker. That's for sure.
No, they're chess pieces.
Oh, okay.
Good job, Brian.
Yeah, I could
Just
Not-
insult
not
our
so-
guest.
even with the blurred background.
Not
I'm like,
salt and pepper.
that's a rook, and that's probably a pawn. A pawn shouldn't be as tall as a rook. Maybe a bishop.
It's a king.
Oh, it's a king.
Oh, it's a king.
Look at Chris. You idiot. You're so dumb. I knew it was a king. How do you not know that? Have you
Is
not
that a
ever
king and
played?
queen? Is that what it is?
It is knight and king.
Knight and king.
So what's your favorite thing back there then? Since you got just a hodgepodge of random things.
Favorite thing is, if you can see it right here, it
Got
is
Legos?
a replica Ayrton Senna helmet, race helmet. So I'm a huge race fan.
Oh,
I've been a
nice.
big
Yeah, I see
F1
it.
fan
Yeah.
since I was a kid. And Senna, I don't think very many people would disagree, probably the best ever in the sport. So I'm a huge Senna fan.
Whoa. More so than Mario Andretti?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Should have that higher. It's hard to see down there on the bottom
And,
shelf.
and Andretti is the great American. Senna is the great of the greats.
Bro, she looked you dead in the eyes like, don't ever ask this
I know, right?
question like that.
I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you. You don't be talking about that
You
way.
don't know what you're talking about, Glenn, clearly.
Oh my
So yes,
gosh.
that's my favorite thing.
Right on. And Chris's is his blankie that's behind him because it helps deaden the sound.
It does. I care about sound quality more than the aesthetics. Although you can still see my Saturn V right there.
You've got a bunch of stuff behind there, so when the blanket's down.
They do.
He actually has a printer too. I read about you guys in my hunter-gatherer history book. Printer.
Now, when you have kids, you use the printer more often than you think.
I'm thinking, so I must guess
on that
that's a
note.
lot. And I'm printing on dead trees.
Right, for our third topic and a follow-up to a story we did a few weeks ago on episode 181 when Victor was on, we report on a bunch of teenagers who stole $243 million worth of cryptocurrency from a single person and then went on to dox themselves when they recorded their crime and posted it online for internet clout. Well, the parents of a 19-year-old Connecticut kid accused of taking part in that cryptocurrency heist, they were carjacked a week later while out house hunting in a brand new Lamborghini. Police say the couple was beaten and briefly kidnapped by 6 young men who traveled from Florida as part of a botched plan to hold the parents for ransom. The parents pulled up to a gated community, presumably to buy a house inside there, when they were rear-ended by a Honda Civic and several men jumped out of a van and kidnapped the parents. Police spotted the van and chased it until it crashed, and the police found the parents beaten up and tied inside the van. All 6 suspects were eventually caught.
Can we say that we're surprised that this happened? That they got caught?
Not surprised that they got caught, but to your point
Yeah.
earlier, Brian, of bragging about how much crypto you have, probably not a good idea to put that out there.
I mean, they
The
doxed
Lambo's
him.
the giveaway.
Yeah, exactly.
I keep my Lambo in the garage, guys. Don't leave people
Little
alone.
flashy.
I don't think
they're
like
gonna get me with my Camry, so yeah.
there's no amount of internet points that would ever make me want to dox myself for $243 million. Like that's just insane. It's like the Ocean's 11 of Gen Z, except with less George Clooney and more Jack Gassman's blockchain.
Probably a good way to describe it. And they didn't intentionally dox themselves. Like, they posted this video online. Hey, look, I just stole $240 million. What happened was the guy clicked his start menu, and on the start menu on Windows, it shows the username of the person logged in, so it showed his real first and last name, so he gave away himself by clicking on the start menu. He didn't realize that before he posted the video online.
That's why I'm always signed in as Jeffrey Dahmer. I'll never guess.
I'm going to sign in as Glenn Medina.
Yeah.
Smart enough to steal that much money, dumb enough to give away your name.
Yeah. Yeah, we got this dichotomy of computer smart, but very street dumb.
You would think Computer Smart would have you not even running Windows in the first place. There's that.
I don't know. Talk to Victor. Victor runs freaking Windows. Super smart guy.
Brian's like, my point exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even
So,
Elise
let's
has
ask.
Windows or
Yeah,
Mac or
Elise.
Mac.
Mac.
Jeez, even Elise. Wow.
Even the
This is
salesperson
how
on
you
the call.
treat your guests.
Well, I am putting you in the bucket of salespeople. So again, I think you're calculated. You may have just went out and bought a MacBook today just so you can like assimilate and be part of the group. So I don't know.
No, every device I have is Apple at this point.
She's in the ecosystem, bros.
It is. It's the ecosystem. She doesn't want to get hacked.
I'm in the cult.
Or the cults. Yeah, thank you for that.
You
Are
are
you-
too, Brian. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying. I don't call it a cult though.
What do you call it?
It feels a little culty sometimes. It's okay. I'm fine with it. I can admit it.
It's true. It's like you're in or you're out.
You're in or you're out, and you work really hard to try to recruit new people, because I find myself constantly trying to explain to people why they should go out and buy the devices I already have. So it feels a little
Really?
cult-like, and I'm okay with it.
Are you an
And
Apple
we're
Vision
watching-
Pro owner? Well, everyone's talking it there.
No, that I do not have yet.
Okay.
I heard they're gonna kill that off. Like sales are so bad and there's no interest. It's been a year.
Well, yeah, because it's like
and they're gonna kill it off.
$5,000. It's ridiculous. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
that isn't one of those things that I'm anxiously waiting to buy.
But you will look so
Now the
cool with it on.
robot, but the robot that's gonna come cook and clean at my house, hopefully in the next few years, that I'm excited to buy. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's not gonna be Apple.
Yeah, Optimus is
Tesla.
awesome. Yeah.
It's gonna be Elon. So let's take it back. You invest in Elon as well? Are you a big Elon fan?
I don't have a Tesla, but I am looking at one.
Well, if you go with the
I
3
drive-
or the Y, it's almost free right now. I think it's like 0% APR. If not saying that you have to
I
finance.
only
but-
drive. Yeah, I only drive to the airport, so it makes sense at this point.
There's Uber. Car ownership is pretty expensive, especially insurance. Now insurance is outrageous. Car insurance.
Yeah, we had a friend of the show. He added his son, and like his premium went up like almost $3,000. Like the math did not make sense.
joke.
That's the downside of being a boy.
For someone that didn't have a license. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
Right.
insure someone that's no license. So
I
back
mean,
to
he
the
does
story.
drive a
Like, I would-
$200,000 car though, so there's that.
Sorry, we went off the rails on the Apple conversation.
We always
Back
Oh,
go
to
off
the
rails.
story. Do you think? I'm gonna throw this out to you. Do you think the parents should be culpable at least a little bit? Because when you think about it, your 19-year-old son shows up, hands you the keys to a brand new Lamborghini, and says, "Go buy your dream house." Like, shouldn't you ask a few questions about that? Like, this kid did not just win the lotto; he got this money somehow.
I would think crypto.
Just tell him I invested in crypto and I made millions of dollars. So here's your Lambo, here's your dream house.
Like if it's my son, I wouldn't question it. I'd be like, damn, dude, all right, go off. I think you'd have to lie to me. But yeah, I don't know. Like we were at a watch store on Saturday, and we were looking at this one watch. Is my son's favorite watch. It was like $180,000. I'm like, dude, why am I even touching this thing? I'm afraid to drop it. And then like these 20-something-year-old kids came in, like 3 dudes, and they were all wearing that watch. I'm like, I was just blown away. Even if they bought it at the low end, it was still $60,000 or $70,000 watch. It's insane that they're just walking in there with their tore up jeans and Converse. But who am I to judge?
And I'm not saying it's not outside the realm of the possibility that a 19-year-old can buy a Lambo in the parents' dream house, but like, show me the receipts, or you should have known that like your son's building this business or building an online presence. They're working really, really hard to do this, but if all of a sudden he just shows up with a big pile of cash, like I would have a lot lot of questions.
No,
We
then
all
you just
know our
get
children.
yourself in
Yeah.
trouble. Yeah.
We all know our children. We know their capabilities. You'd probably go like, yeah, no, that's pretty, I know your skills. That's pretty impossible. So, but maybe
I don't have
Dom.
kids,
Dom,
but
Dom
I
would
feel
do
like
it,
I'd
yeah.
ask for receipts.
Yeah.
Well, see, then the FBI shows up, and they're like, guess what? You get to go to jail, too, because you knew. And I'm like, no, I'm just dumb. I thought he
Yeah.
donated a lot
Plausible
of
to
blood,
not do it.
guys.
My fear, even if it was legitimately earned, my fear is that 19-year-old kids don't know the tax code well enough, and that they probably just spend all the money and then owe a lot in taxes. So at least that, like, you'd want to help them with some financial planning. Like, number one, don't blow all your money, invest in yourself in the future. Number two, set at least half aside for taxes.
But there's two sides to the story, though, right? The first one is the parents actually got carjacked, right? And then the story that precedes that is the money that they got in the car that they got carjacked in was stolen money from their son, who was crypto thief. Well, like I said, was a thief, right? I mean, basically.
Yeah, and that's what the kidnappers knew. So the kidnappers knew the identity of the thief, found the identity of the parents, and wanted to kidnap the parents and say, "Give me 50 million in crypto, or we're gonna kill your parents." Like, presumably that's how this was supposed to go if they were a little smarter about it. But they crashed the van and got caught, so they didn't get any money out of it.
I thought kidnapping wasn't a thing anymore after it became like a federal. It was something really federal thing, right? I mean, it was basically you can go to. I don't know. It's pretty.
You heard it here first, folks. You can kidnap. Yeah. Glenn says it's legal.
I didn't say it was legal. I'm just saying. I thought that's the whole reason why kidnapping came to an end was because they made the punishment pretty severe.
This whole thing sounds like an episode of The Righteous Gemstones. That's all I'm picturing right now. If you've watched that show.
Oh, you haven't seen that show? It's amazing. Oh my gosh.
It is hysterical.
These guys are losers, am I right? Yeah, it's you guys got to go.
Have you not seen that show?
What
so
platform?
Good.
What's it on?
Max.
Max, yeah.
Okay.
Max.
HBO.
Right.
Danny McBride, he's the man. It's a series.
Good. Series? Okay.
Season 3 already.
Is it about stupid criminals and like half concocted plans that never work?
At least tell the boys.
So I'd like you to imagine Kenny Powers combined with like a church ultra mega pastor, just all in one. A giant mashup of Kenny Powers in a southern mega church. And it's just
Kenny Powers.
Episode after episode, scene after scene. You just cannot believe how it unfolds.
Yeah. Think of like Joel Osteen, but if it was Kenny Powers, then you're like, yeah. And they probably
see this, right? Yeah.
No, you watched part of Eastbound and Down, and then you're like, "Oh, I'll watch it again." You never watched it, did you? Lisa, did you watch Eastbound and Down too?
Yes.
Oh gosh.
This is why she's on the pod, guys. Eastbound and Down is good.
I love Kenny Powers. Also, Vice Principals was another one that
was
a lot
another
of
great
people
one.
did not give a shot, but like anything that he does is just guaranteed gold.
It is.
I actually take only about 5 minutes of him, and then I'm done. And it's like, okay.
Dude, my whole persona in life is based
Not
off
for
of Kenny
everybody.
Powers without the F words. So you only take me
I
for
can
5
see
minutes
it.
as well. Yeah.
I see it.
Fewer.
Now. That's why.
Fewer
yeah.
F words, yeah.
Yeah.
He just needs the haircut, but Brian has the inability to grow hair on his head. He can wear a wig. That's what you should be for Halloween, actually. Get a Kenny Powers wig.
But then I have to shave my face, and I don't want to do that. Lord knows what I look like underneath this thing now.
Sure.
Could be scary.
You might find some food from last week or 2 years ago, so that would be interesting.
Yeah, that's great. It'd probably be like really, really just like pale white. But not.
I will lay them all to rest now.
All right, for our last topic, and it'll be a rotating topic every week. This week we're going to talk about stupid financial decisions, somewhat maybe related to our last story.
That should put your mind at ease.
Well, Fidelity Investments is the latest financial institution to reduce the deposit limit for certain customers to $1,000 down from $100,000 and impose a 16-day hold on deposits to combat a check fraud scheme. There's a stupid TikTok trend going around that claims to be a free money hack. The trick works when a bank customer deposits a bogus check they know that will bounce. Many banks will allow you to withdraw the money right away. Just go to an ATM and grab some cash, and the customers do just that. A few days later, the bank realizes the check is fake, and then withdraws the money from the user's bank account, plus you get whacked with a hefty fee on top of that. Nothing new or groundbreaking here, just straight up check fraud. The amount of people who believe that is mind-numbing that both Fidelity and Chase Bank would have to change their deposit limits to stop this type of behavior. Scammers have taken advantage of this TikTok trend and offered these unlimited money hacks to unsuspecting users by allowing these scammers to do this check fraud in their bank accounts. Now there's no unlimited money hack, and people are getting arrested for check fraud as more banks opt for speed and high deposit limits to attract new customers. Physical checks continue to be this weak spot for banks. Why do you think people will actually believe this is a free money hack?
People are dumb. But the other part...
It's on
Believe in
TikTok.
Yeah, if it's on
Yeah,
TikTok.
people believe anything on TikTok.
See, this is why we should not have TikTok, guys.
What are you talking about? You're the biggest TikTok subscriber, aren't you? Like, you're big on TikTok.
No.
I need to know this. Do you guys have TikTok accounts?
No.
I don't.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one here because everyone thinks I'm a weirdo for not.
Oh, I
having
thought you were going
TikTok.
to say you did. Yeah, no, it's like brain rot.
There's no
right?
TikTok. There is no TikTok on my phone.
Yeah, I think I had it installed once, and then after talking to this crew, we're talking about how much data it can take off of the phone. It was like, you're uninstalled. You are banned.
The
think
ability
there's
to turn on the mic and read your messages and read your clipboard.
Yeah, I think there's a video of, I
There's
think,
enough
Chris doing the
stuff spying on
Dougie.
me.
What's that? Brian?
I said there's a video of, on TikTok, before he deleted his account, of Chris doing the Dougie. Or other dumb dances. Teach me how to Dougie. What do you think is listening to you, Lise?
Oh, Amazon. I've had to disable all of the Alexas in the house. They're all gone. I started getting some weird ads. I started seeing things like just stupid stuff. Like, my husband's notorious for going online and buying really dumb things that we don't need. And I started seeing the ads, and I would ask him, like, are you buying this stuff? And he would be like, oh, yeah, the other day. And it was harmless stuff. It was stupid stuff. But I was realizing from Alexa that it was listening in the house. And that's
Was it
when
like-
everything.
How dumb? Was it like a
was hard.
battery-operated battery
Give us
opener?
an example. Yeah.
I mean, there were just dumb things like like one time I realized it was remote control cars. I'm like, what? We're grown adults. Why do we have remote control cars?
Hey,
Like,
stop that.
Time out.
We can all use a remote control car.
Yeah.
I'm with your husband on this one.
I know.
need
We
to have
got
remote
to step in
Why?
and defend him a little bit.
Well, when you live on a cul-de-sac, you don't know when you're going to want to go outside and have remote control car races with your friends. So
Exactly.
How else are you going to
was-
walk that dog? Well, that dog's
What
gonna
else
walk
are you
itself.
going to do? But yeah, when I realized Alexa was listening, that was the end.
Glad to be in my
Yeah,
own
you're talking to the guy that wears that turkey hat. But I actually have a purpose for this. My goal in life is to embarrass my children as much as humanly possible. So I wear the turkey hat in November. I wear the Santa hat and Christmas sweaters in December. And my kids' friends will walk up to me like, hey, you're so-and-so's dad. You're the guy that always walks around with the turkey hat.
It's always good
Also-
to make fun of our kids.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian
I
knows
have
that too.
I have the
His
top
daughter.
Yeah, I have the top off the Bronco right now. So when I pick up my daughter, it's just blaring some horrific song that she doesn't want to have anyone hear. And now she's got to get
He's
into the
playing
driver's
Taylor
seat.
Swift. He's playing Taylor
No,
Swift.
it would
Yeah,
be.
that'd be cool. You need Smash Mouth, Nickelback, Baby Shark.
Baby, I've done
Oh,
Baby
you did
Shark
Baby Shark.
before. Yeah, I'm trying to think here.
This is your teenage daughter, right?
Yeah, the 15-year-old. I'll play a Rickroller sometimes. Then I'll play Friday by Rebecca Black. It's
Yeah.
Friday. Yeah. I'm a Believer from Shrek. That's another one that's pretty cringy.
Do you have
Yeah.
just a whole playlist of embarrassment?
Yeah, it's called Chloe Pickup. And then
I love this.
and then we record it. And back in the day, I used to, I don't know if it was me or my wife, I had I think it was an Instagram, and she'd
Yeah, you
make
better
reels
like
out of it. Yeah, and then it got really popular for a while for some reason.
He's an influencer. At least you just wouldn't know it.
I influence people to
Now I
buy
know.
products from Zscaler. That's about all the influencing I do.
Okay, why don't people weaponize TikTok that way? Just tell people to buy Zscaler instead of convincing people to commit check fraud. Just use it for something useful. Buy the greatest cloud proxy out there, or the greatest browser you can install on your computer.
That's not an enterprise market, though, right? I don't think the influence in there is just very specific to the younger generation.
CrowdStrike would beg to differ. I'm sure they probably have some.
Are they on
marketing
TikTok?
pe-
You think?
I
bet you
they
are.
are. They have a Super Bowl ad. I'd be very surprised they're not on TikTok.
Well, Island
tell you
was
what.
on Thursday or Sunday Night Football. So that was pretty cool. Did you see that commercial, Elise?
Help me hit them back.
Yeah, it actually made it Saturday on Saturday Night Live in New York City.
Oh wow, there you go.
So, the more and more you talk, the more I think that husbands are going to be on your husband's side, but you're also empowering young ladies to watch football as well, which is a good thing.
I'm a big football fan. That's actually how I ended up in Pittsburgh, was collegiate athletics. So my master's degree was paid for by my love of sports. So
What sport
both
was it?
technology. So I was a grad assistant just in the athletic department. So I worked in media relations, sports communication. So I traveled with the men's hockey team, women's field hockey, track and field, and softball for 2 years while I was a GA. They paid for grad school. I worked my butt off, wrote articles, made sure all the statistics were done, talked to the media, coordinated interviews. It was really fun 2 years.
So I didn't know you can get a scholarship like that. So they paid for room and board and all the traveling, all the good stuff?
Everything. Yeah, they paid for everything, paid for my master's degree, and I worked very, very hard for those 2 years.
Yeah,
But
as you
it was
should.
so much fun.
And what was your title?
I was a graduate assistant for media relations and athletic communications.
Damn. Life hack, everyone. Listen up.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
So love of football, hockey, and just all things sports can get grad school paid for.
So a Steelers fan?
Steelers, Penguins.
No, there's no way.
So I am a Steelers fan because you can't be a person that lives in Pittsburgh and not be a Steelers fan. Like, they would just throw you out of town.
Yep.
But I grew up in northeastern Ohio in the exact midway point between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. So the town was split 50-50. And I realized at a really young age, Pittsburgh people always were happy because they were winning things, and Cleveland people were always sad. So clearly, I chose
You chose well.
You chose the winning
City
side.
of Champions, Factory of Sadness. I clearly had to go towards Pittsburgh. So I am a Penguins fan. You can't not be. So since I've moved here, the Steelers have been to 2 Super Bowls, won 1. The Penguins have won 3 Stanley Cups. So winning has a funny way of converting you into a fan.
Yeah.
Did you hear what she called the Cleveland fans? A factory
The
of
sad
sadness.
factory. Shots
awesome.
fired.
Oh my gosh. So without looking, what is the Steelers' record right now then, since you're a fan?
So they play tonight on Monday Night Football against the Giants.
Okay.
And they are 5-2.
All right. She wins a Shroot Buck. She got it right, boys.
Yeah. Well, the Giants are going to be a slam dunk. I don't think they'll have much trouble beating them.
The Steelers have this weird ability to lose games that they should always win. So,
So do the Niners.
but they won last night, so it was all good.
Yeah.
They did win.
We lost to Brian's Cardinals and Kyler Murray. That was pretty embarrassing.
So, I mean, like half your team is on the injured reserve list at this point in time. So there's that, right? And by the way, it's not my Cardinals. I just happen to live in the same state as them. I like the 49ers way more than that. And if I'm going to go grassroots, I'm a Steelers fan as well. So
That was the game. We literally didn't have a kicker. Like, if it was 4th and 50, we still had to go.
That's
Or we had
crazy.
a punt, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
We couldn't kick it.
Couldn't even kick it from 30 yards. That was terrible. Like,
Yeah. All right. Well, we continue to get great comments about our dad joke of the week. Dad joke of the week. This week, our guest Elise is up.
I think I have a good one
All right.
because it has a techie flair to it.
Those are
So
the best.
let's see if it gets any laughs. How does a computer get drunk? Any
How's that?
takers?
How's that?
How's that?
It takes screenshots.
ah,
There you go. Suck on that, VDL.
jeez.
Glenn's never going to let that go.
I know. BDL, you've been replaced.
I know.
Yes.
A friend of the show told one stinker of a joke one time, and apparently
never
Glenn's
let
the
him
one
know
that
that.
let him go. I hassled him for a little bit, but Glenn still.
Well, it's because it was already used, and he said he was a listener.
Yeah, that was like
an
12
avid
episodes
listener.
ago.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous
All
that
right.
you're gonna replay something we've already heard, so you came in clutch. Thanks for not letting us down.
We
That's it.
did.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we didn't have a repeat.
There you go.
Love you, Victor. All right, to wrap things up, Tigran Gambaryan is now free, and the U.S. government's about to get a payday. Don't trust that secretive crime phone. If your kid hands you a brand new Lambo, ask a few questions, and be cautious of check fraud. That's all I have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to our listeners and subscribers who rated us 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. The best way to find us is to search for the PEBCAK Podcast on your favorite podcast listening app. Find co-hosts Brian Deitch and Glenn Medina, and our guest, Elise Healy. I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next weekend. As always, have a nice day.
Hi, Felicia.
Good job, guys.
And
Have a nice day.